There have been many claims made about the killing of Renee Good, and today we're going to deal with two of them. The first is that Renee gunned her car and tried to run over Jonathan Ross, the ICE agent. And the second is that Jonathan Ross was hit, thus proving her intent. Today, we're going to take a look at a synced frame-by-frame analysis of the three major videos. And we're going to find, I think, previously unseen details, and we're also going to get much closer to the truth. We're going to focus on the moment that the gunshots were fired, and we have three of the videos. This is the back angle taken by a bystander. The center is Jonathan Ross's POV from his camera, and this is a wide angle taken far away from a balcony of the front. You can see Jonathan Ross right there. Now, people are saying here, if you look at the center one, when the phone becomes unstable, that's when he was hit. Let me play it. Now, look at the frame on the left. We're going to see that there's space between Jonathan Ross and the car, so it looks like he did not get hit. Now, look at this frame. People are saying that this one, when you look at it, proves that Jonathan Ross was hit. I think it can look like he was hit, but it's far from certain. To figure out what actually happened, let's go frame by frame. Let's start here. We can see that Renee is looking left at this ICE agent who's trying to open her door. And then she starts to back up. Probably at this point, she sees Jonathan Ross, and he's already here. And so this is a reveal. He does a little more of a step, but not much. And so because she's backing up, we see him with the phone in his hand, back of the hand to her, camera this way, recording this right here. And we see the hands moving. So right now we know that Jonathan Ross saw her start the three-point turn and is turning to the right to try to get away. So as Renee starts to turn to the right, we're going to see Rebecca Good, who's trying to get back in the car. And she's actually going to say, "Drive, baby, drive." Let me play it for you. There it is. They're claiming that what she means is drive, baby, drive into Jonathan Ross. But there's absolutely no proof that that is what she means. We know that Renee starts to get back into the car here. She hears the other ICE agent. Jonathan Ross is in front, and she realizes they're about to be trapped and detained. In fact, she can see Jonathan Ross coming around the front, and there's the car, another car. Renee's in here. Renee's about to be boxed in and detained. So when she says drive, baby, drive, it can simply mean run, baby, run, because they're about to try to detain her. Even the bystanders know it because you can hear someone yell, "No!" in the background. No! Right there. And you hear it, "Get out of the car." So as we go forward, we're going to see Jonathan Ross draw and point the gun directly at her. But we know that he's already seen her turn the wheel to the right. So now let's go back and see what we can learn from the wide angle video on the right. Here we see Renee. She's driving backwards. And actually, even here, you see this arm? It looks like he's ready to draw. And by itself, it may mean nothing. But we know that he's about to draw in just a moment. So let's go forward and see what this shows us. There's the arm. It moves forward and grips the gun. We can't see the arm because it's over here behind him right now. But there it is. He draws right there. And now we see him extend his right hand like this. You can see the black gun, the right hand. And by the way, his arm is bent. This is his left hand. And this is what we see with his camera. His right foot is about to go back into a shooting stance. And so now we see gun forward, which matches this. Left hand lower by the car. This is what the left hand sees. And the right foot back. We also see that because Renee has turned the wheel to the right, the angle has changed. From here, we see that he's probably somewhere to the left front of the car. He's no longer directly in front of the car. And now we have this huge question, is he really in any danger? As we go forward, we're going to see also this space, which means he still has space before the car reaches him. His left hand is straight, and the gun is straight. And let's look. Okay, there's the car. It actually looks at this point that his left hand is on the car as it's moving close to him. Right there. He's still leaned forward, pointing the gun at the windshield, and he's actually leaned forward. And look at all this space, which now begs the question, if there's this much space and his hand is on the car, why didn't he just jump to the right? We already know that he's somewhat near the left front, which implies that he is only a few feet away from safety. So I'm going to go back just a little bit to here, where the phone still remains stable. Look at the center. And then as we move forward, we see some sky, we see his face, we see some black, and then we see a flash. That is the flash of the gun. So that smoke is this flash right here, and it goes forward. Also, let's go back and play the audio. So what I hear is someone saying, whoa, or hold. I hear the engine. I hear some kind of noise, which to me does not sound human, like he was hit. And also the 3 shots. So let's go back. It looks to me like the person who would actually say whoa to fit his body language is actually the agent here. But watch his body language. There you go. He's trying to pull. He's actually very still at this point. So he could say whoa, but little more probability that it's this agent. We hear the engine because we know the engine starts to accelerate. And then we're going to hear some kind of sound. To me, it doesn't sound like a human sound, like someone being hit, but just some kind of material hitting another material. And then the 3 shots, I'll play it again. So, how can we make sense of this? We know from this frame that his hand is on the car. So, what it looks like to me is he was recording with a phone like this. His arm is straight out to this point. If you look over here, his arm actually starts to bend, but his arm is also on the car. So what he did was he put his hand on the car and palm down. So now the camera is pointing up, and here it records his face. Notice also that he's very leaned. So he must be putting his weight on the car with his left hand because his gun hand is free over here. All his weight from this lean is on the car. And as it moves forward, and as the car moves forward, it's actually pushing the phone closer to him. So this is why we see first a face, and now his arm is bent. You can see the arm right here bends. And now we're going to record the black of his clothes because it's bent. And then it actually looks like there's a pivot of the shoulder. So look at this real quick. You see this? The shoulders are now pointing toward the car. But watch this. It's actually going to turn. So now his shoulders are pointing this way. His gun hand still is this way, but his body's over here. And now his foot is going to go that way. So this is how I make sense of it. He put his hand on the car. And that's what creates the instability in the phone. It's not that he was hit. And it's very clear that at this point there is space. So he's not hit at this point. We go forward. His arm bends. And this is why we see these two. His face and the black. There's a flash. And then we see sky. So my conclusion at this point is that the phone does not prove that he was hit. In fact, it was just his hand on the car. And it also makes sense then that whatever sound we heard back here, it was probably the sound of the hand and the phone hitting the car or moving with it, as opposed to him being hit, because clearly he has not yet been hit. So now let's deal with the next question, which is, was he hit immediately after when it looks like he makes contact with the car. He is very close, but it does look to me, as I've just mentioned, that he pivots and his foot's here, his arm here. Now, what tells me that he wasn't hit is that his head and his arm are still stable and his body is stable. This motion fits a pivot. If he had been hit, he would have been thrown back and he would not have been able to maintain his aim. His head also would not be steady, his arm would not, and his foot would not. He would be thrown back in some way. What's missing here is a reaction hit. So look at this. He's there. It may graze him, it may touch him, but he remains completely focused and stable, and he's able to fire immediately after. I think it's impossible to be hit right here and still hold that arm and fire that shot right where he planned it. You see, he's aimed here since before the car arrives. In fact, it actually looks like he's waiting for the car to arrive so that he can take this shot. And he even pivots at this point. Now, does any of the information from the other two frames confirm that? Let's look over here. You see, the gun is pointed, he's leaned, his arm has bent, and now we're going to see this foot move right there. Two things we see. First of all, the wheels are turning to the right, and his foot is coming back here. And the fact that Renee was actually turning the wheels to the right actually made it easier for him to pivot out of the way. And you see the foot go back, and he fires. Now, see clearly that even though it looks at this point like he's right on top of the car, there's actually some distance. Even a foot would make him safe, and this foot is clear of this wheel. So this perception problem, where it looks like someone is being hit, but there's actually distance between the two, it's just physics and a photography trick. Because what happens is when you have two objects stacked one in front of the other, you cannot actually tell the distance between object A and object B. We also know this because this is how every Hollywood fight scene is filmed. What happens in a fight scene is there's actually no contact, but it looks like it. And how that is done is that a fist will come by and there'll be some distance between the two, but the actor will just react and make a sound like this. Ugh! Now, if you actually looked at it from the side, you'll see there's actually space, and it looks like this. Ugh! So after the shots are fired, I'm going to play the rest on a wider shot, and I want you to notice two things. The first, look at the trajectory of Renee's car, and it actually curves. Same thing over here, which proves that she had turned the wheels to the right and did not intend to hit Jonathan Ross. Also, you'll see Jonathan Ross, he limps for a couple steps, and then he walks on.
Oh, shit! Shit! Oh my fucking god! What the fuck?
And after, we see that he walks away at a regular pace, actually quick pace, and he looks completely fine. There are reports that he never went to the hospital, that he went home and went into hiding, but I haven't seen a lot of confirmation from several news sources about that. So after looking at all this, I'm pretty confident that Renee did not try to run Jonathan Ross over. I'm also very confident, or have high confidence, that he was not hit. Of course, people will debate it, and I did this so you can look at it and decide for yourself. There's also several questions, several really critical questions about when did he decide he had to fire, and why did he step out of the way, and also his state of mind. But those are going to be for another time and another video. I hope this helped.